Devin has a $26 billion valuation. They're raising $1 billion. They're doing autonomous coding. And Dan and I, through luck or bad luck, we built an open source alternative that we started building in November. Hey, welcome to the Velocity Lab. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dan. Today we're going to be talking about Shipwright versus Devin AI.
Yep. Yeah, so Dan and I accidentally built, so Devin's really hot right now. Like Devin has a $26 billion valuation. They're raising $1 billion. They're doing autonomous coding. And Dan and I, through luck or bad luck, we built an open source alternative that we started building in November. And by the way, we built it for us and our clients. We didn't build it like, oh, we're going to take over the world. We're just like, we need this tool. We can code autonomously. We believe you could. And now we're doing it. We're doing hundreds of pull requests a week.
So we believed we could, and it was one of our goals for the year, and now we're doing it. And it happens to be about as good as Devin.
Yeah.
And it's open source. It is built on Claude Code, which is basically the best CLI coding tool that is out there. So it's a good starting point. And what we've built is this harness on top of Claude Code, which gives it like the Devin feel.
Yeah. So I think like one thing that like Dan just mentioned, like we built it on top of Claude Code, right? On purpose, right? And Dan and I love Claude Code for the same reasons I think people were going to love using Shipwright. Claude Code feels like it was built by developers for developers, right? Shipwright, you and I are developers. We built this tool in the same era. Like we built this tool for developers. Now, Dan and I have clients that both use Shipwright and we have for autonomous coding, and we have clients who are using Devin for autonomous coding. We will help you steer in either direction, but we think Shipwright it's free and open source. I think one of the key things about Shipwright is that because we built it on Claude Code, you can leverage your existing plugins and your existing skills, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big differentiator, right? Because if you're an organization that's already Claude Code,
into the core like worker loop, right?
Yeah.
So you can easily integrate to the core worker loop and control everything that it does.
Yeah. So for those, just back up a second. Autonomous coding means in the cloud. So in Devin's case, you're in their cloud. Wherever their infrastructure is, that's where your agent is.
Yep.
In our case, our agent's running in your infrastructure, in your Kubernetes cluster, right?
Or our cloud.
We can host it for you. But
you have the freedom to do what you want.
Yeah,
right?
you have freedom to do what you want. Like Devin's a black box, ours is not. But if you're at the top level, if someone's going to hire us, be like, listen, we want to take on it because we are consultants. If we want to take on autonomous coding, what do you recommend, Devin or Shipwright? My first question is going to be, are you currently a Claude Code shop? Because if you currently are a Claude Code shop, it makes sense to use Shipwright because all the tools
and you have all your skills and
all the
set
process.
up.
Yeah. We assume we've already built some infrastructure around Claude Code. You can just keep using that in Shipwright.
But if you haven't, then you can just use what we already have.
Yeah.
And it also just works.
Yeah.
But you get this flexibility, and you can really integrate it into your company's process. It'll fit any process. We know that because we use it for all our clients. And you have the freedom to decide, okay, this is how we're going to create tasks. This is how we're going to ship them.
Yeah, so a couple of differences between us and Devin. We think Shipwright's better. Obviously, we built it, but Devin still has a place out there for sure. They're a giant, massive company. I think
of course
they have
a
every
place,
certification you could. Devin was clearly built to make money. It's pretty like let's make money because they have every enterprise-y type thing. But one huge difference besides the fact that you can use your Claude Code skills and you can deploy to your own infrastructure. And the fact it's open source, you know what this thing is doing. The biggest difference, I think, is that Devin it'll autonomously code for you and it'll do the pull request and it'll review the pull request. It won't deploy. We can either automatically deploy, or if after a human reviews it and presses the button to merge that, then we go ahead and deploy. And that's a Claude Code skill. For example, we have one client where we wrote some skills to deploy for them. They could easily, instead of using the Shipwright's version of deploy, they could easily take the plugin that we wrote for them and just use that, right? It's totally extensible.
Right.
And so
the Shipwright deploy is relatively straightforward. It merges and waits for CI to pass for now. So if you have your CI running on main, it will wait for that to run. So it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
But if you have a more complex deployment flow, you can write your own skill and do basically whatever you want. So that you can integrate, that's the deep integration at each point. Plus we also have just a bunch of maintenance skills out of the box.
Yeah.
We can hook into your logs. We can hook and correct things. We make tests better, right?
Yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah.
automatically.
So Devin, to compare, Devin and Shipwright kind of do the same thing. In our case, you create a PRD, and then you interactively work with your agent. By the way, you get to name the way we do it is we think every developer should have their own agent. You give it your own name, give it its own personality. We kind of borrowed that from OpenClaw because I still have an OpenClaw agent. So every developer their own.
And developers can shape their agents to act on their behalf, right?
Absolutely. And that's the whole point. It's like you as a developer are no longer writing code. You are planning and you are reviewing, but you have your own agent that you work with and develops its own personality, learns how you want to do things. So you work with your agent interactively through Slack to create the PRD. And then once the PRD is created, you approve it, then you create the task list. So if you're thinking Jira, a Jira epic with all the tasks in order, and then it'll go and autonomously code all those and create pull requests. And then in Shipwright, once you merge that pull request, it goes and deploys it for you. That is a key differential between Shipwright and Devin. Devin does not deploy anything for you. Yeah, Devin will help you plan. It'll code everything for you, create the PR, remove it, and fix any bugs. But that's where it stops.
Yeah, I do think so. We do default to deployment off because there is a little bit of work for an engineering team to build that confidence and have that system in place so they can see, okay, every time a PR is approved, they're confident they can just press merge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's still some work to get there, but it will deploy for you for sure.
Yeah. So that's a key difference. So the top level differences are Shipwright is MIT licensed. It's free. It's open source. You can copy our code and say it's yours, although you have to burn in hell if you did that. But you can do that. And it's open source. You can literally walk, hey, Claude Code, what is this thing doing? It knows exactly what it's doing. Devin is completely black box. You have no idea what it's doing. The only buttons you can turn are the ones they give you, the knobs. You don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you can add your own skills and automations and things like that, which you can with Shipwright as well.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, also in the main thing, it lives in their cloud. Now their cloud, I know one of my clients is connected to them and they're in Amazon. You can do a private link, but still, it's not the same as having it in your own infrastructure, right? There's a huge difference psychologically of knowing this is in my private network and this thing's outside of my private network. Like, if something were to leak, if Shipwright were to leak something, it's only going to leak my Shipwright instance. Your Shipwright instance is totally protected. It's in your infrastructure, right? So it's totally different.
In your cloud, and I think it really can conform and evolve with your org. So Devin is whatever they give you, right? It's a package deal, but you have full control over Shipwright. You can hook in and tell it basically how to do things. Now the basic workflows is standardized, but you can still hook into each one of those tasks and customize it.
Yeah. So again, I think if you want to hire us, hey, listen, we want to do autonomous coding. If you're going to hire us, and we're like, hey, my first question is, are you currently using Claude Code? If your answer is currently using Claude Code, my answer is going to be Shipwright 100% of the time.
It integrates seamlessly with your local sessions, basically, because not only does it learn from everything that you're doing on the managed agents, it contributes back to your repos. And then you open up the same thing inside your local terminal, and you can use it just the same way.
Yeah, and one important thing. So our initial Shipwright, we started building in November. We had it running in our private repository. And then since then, we decided to open source this a couple months ago. So Shipwright literally built Shipwright. So the last 1,000 pull requests that are in Shipwright, which is public, it's a public repo, those 1,000 pull requests were all written by Shipwright. So any feature or bug or bug fix, I should say, that's in Shipwright was built by Shipwright itself. Dan and I aren't writing code in the background. We're creating PRDs. What I do is I create a PRD locally using the Shipwright plugin. And then I take that file, I add it, I give it to my agent in Slack, and I say, create a task list out of this. So it's like, this PRD is these 10 tasks, which is going to be 10 pull requests. And maybe there's a human in the loop one, like, hey, create this.
Tasks can be one or more pull requests.
One or more pull requests.
The task is like a unit of work that we scope down so the agent is more likely to get it correct. It should never be over 30 minutes of work is basically where we are with that. But they can be bundled in a single PR as well. So
Dan and I had a big moment this week. We had an external person that we don't know forked our repo and created a pull request. And it looks good. I haven't reviewed it. Of course, I'm not going to I looked at it. I, as a human, looked at it.
It's a simple, straightforward PR. So we'll get it merged.
Yeah, we'll get it merged. Thank you for doing that. That's pretty cool. But again, we're open source, right? So if that's another thing, like if you're like, oh, I want to change the way this works, just fork it, create a pull request. Chances are, if it looks good, we're going to merge it in. Now you made everyone using Shipwright better. So,
I also feel like I should admit that I have created PRs outside of Shipwright for Shipwright.
How dare you?
In emergency, you can always do that. Or it's something you actually want to be human in the loop on when you create a PR. You just create that PR. Shipwright will also just pick it up, review it, and merge it for you if you do that.
Yeah. So I think another piece. So another huge difference between Devin and Shipwright is the cost long term, right? So let's say you let's say you're like, okay, like proof of concept, we're gonna have one developer team use Devin, right? That's great, right? Because you have one developer team, you're paying X amount a month, right? That's totally fine. But once you adopt that tool, it's probably gonna get hard to get off the tool. And now when you adapt it to your entire org, all of a sudden your costs are gonna be, not only are you gonna have increased token costs, you have to slap on the Devin cost, right? But in our case, because Shipwright's free, your only expense is your token cost, which, by the way, we save you tokens because we choose which model to use based on the task. We almost never use the default model of Opus right now. It's very rare that we use Opus, right? We use a much less expensive model on almost every task. But the other part is, we're recommending one agent per turn, so that's one pod running in Kubernetes. That costs you almost no money, right? So you can go from one agent per developer, one agent with one developer to 200 developers, each with their own agent. Now 200 agents, that only costs you the cost of money for that tiny pod to run.
And actually, also since it's built on Claude Code, so it's easy to adopt. It's also easy to just piece out and say, actually, we're going to use the Anthropic ecosystem, and you already are using the ecosystem. We just built this harness on top of it to streamline your Claude Code work.
Oh, and the other piece, if you're using Claude Code, you can just use these Shipwright plugins. Like all the plugins and skills that Shipwright is using, your agent is using autonomously, running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the cloud, it's using Claude Code plugins called Shipwright, which is open source. So you can adopt Shipwright without even going the agent model. Obviously,
it's just not going to be autonomous, really.
It's not autonomous.
You have to kick off all the tasks manually for now.
Yeah.
I think there could be a way to do it in Claude Code if you never let your laptop sleep. But
But really, like Dan and I truly feel that as a developer, you should not be spending much time in a terminal anymore. You should spend your time in Slack, interacting with your agent.
Yeah, our harness also has a bunch of optimizations built in to help streamline that. Also, I want to go back to the creating PRs outside of Shipwright. Shipwright is actually built so humans can interact in all the normal ways. They can comment on a PR, they can create their own PR, they can merge a PR, and Shipwright recognizes that and just acts on it or against. So like, for example, I work for some clients, I put up a PR, someone reviews my PR outside of Shipwright, my Shipwright just comes and patches it for me. Like I don't have to say, hey, Claude, go look at this comment that someone just wrote for me. That was what I was doing before Shipwright. Now it just fixes it for me.
Yeah. So Dan, we're super busy. Shipwright, by the way, if you go to proof.shipwrightharness.com, you can see like all the tasks that Shipwright's working on for itself. Like literally, like it's dog fooding. Shipwright is shipping itself. But if you go to that URL, you can see all the actual tasks. So anyways, this morning, I noticed, oh my God, huge backlog of tasks. I got to get this marketing website up. I ran Shipwright dev tasks locally, Dan. I know, slap my hand for that. But then once it created the PR, then I just asked my agent, hey, agent, go ahead and review this PR. It found an issue, it patched it, and then it approved it, and then it merged it and deployed it, right? So like just Dan said, you can interact, put yourself in there wherever you want. If you can review the PR yourself, you can.
It depends on urgency or the typical thing like, actually, do we need a human in a loop, which Shipwright will automatically identify? It'll schedule all the work, say, hey, you need to do this little thing, then it continues the work for you.
Yeah, I think the key, like Dan's saying, is like, because it's not a black box, you can customize it any way you want. You can use your current Claude Code skills and plugins. You can enable different features. It's open source, you can add to it. No, you can't do any of that stuff with Devin. Devin's a black box, right? It's like there's probably some knobs you can turn here and there, but you can't really customize
some things. But like it is not as flexible.
Yep.
And like I said, everything transfers to standard Claude Code for now. But before we built Shipwright, we were telling everybody, all right, just adopt Claude Code across the org. So everybody was like pretty much fine with that.
Yep.
And now they can install Shipwright, experiment with it, say yes or no, maybe install Devin. But if you install Devin, then you got to figure out how to get everything that you've built for Claude Code into Devin. So, yeah.
Yeah, the other piece, because we're built on top of Claude Code, anytime Claude Code gets better or his model gets better, our product gets better. Right?
That's right.
Yep. And we know Claude Code is going to keep getting better.
For sure.
Yep, for sure. All right, that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.